Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS NBA Wednesday. Coming off a Tuesday night where, well, actually, I don't know how it ended yet because the Lakers game is still on. My RJ Barrett prop hit. Knicks lost, but hopefully you listened to what I said on YouTube because I said you should probably take the Bucks. I'm just making a homer bet there. So I have Lakers money line. They're still playing right now, so we'll see how that turns out. Wednesday night is loaded. I think we got 11 games. I'm going to get through as many as I can. It's after midnight right now, so I'll do as many as I can, and then whatever I don't get to, the live show tomorrow at 4 p.m., we'll go through all the games, prop bets, final decisions, all that. So if you're able to make it, would love to see you in the comments. Let's get started.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
First up, we got the Orlando Magic on the road in Cleveland here. Cavs laying 4.5 points at home, total sitting at 223.5. Injury-wise, Orlando's still missing the same two pieces they've been missing for a while now. Markelle Fultz and Wendell Carter both still out. But you wouldn't really notice because the Magic are 9-1 in their last 10 without those two guys on the floor. On the Cleveland side, they're going to be without Karis LeVert. This will be the second straight game he's missed. There's a couple other guys out for the Cavs, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome. But as far as the main pieces go, Cleveland's pretty set injury-wise. So let's match these two teams up on the court. Obviously, Orlando's been good as hell this year. One of the best teams in the NBA to start this season. Their offense is definitely a bit one-dimensional, though. This team has to get to the basket. They rely on getting to the basket offensively. 38% of the Magic shot attempts this season have come at the rim. That's the most in the NBA. Nobody attacks the basket as frequently as the Magic do so far this season. That's Cleveland's strength defensively. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I mean, that's probably what this Cavs team does best, is protect the basket. Cleveland's defense is a real tough matchup for Orlando. And then you add on the fact that Cleveland likes to push the floor in transition. Cavs are 11th in fast break frequency and 10th in efficiency. That's another weakness for Orlando. Defending in transition, so another mismatch for the Cavs. This data is not really available yet on most sites, but I would imagine Orlando's probably going to be a public dog here. I'm happy to go on the other side. I'm going to take Cleveland. Give me Cavs -4 next game. Memphis on the road at Detroit. Detroit catching 1 point at home here. I'm seeing some 1.5s too. Memphis a very short favorite on the road. Total sitting at 218.5. Injury-wise, obviously Memphis is still without Ja Morant. Marcus Smart is still out. Laravi is out. Brandon Clark is out. Luke Kennard is out. Memphis, I mean, the start of the season for the Memphis Grizzlies has been pretty rough. Things are looking better on the Pistons side. Finally, Bogdanović has returned to the lineup. He put up 22 points off the bench in his first game back. Jalen Duren's been back for a week or two. Monte Morris is still out, and Joe Harris is questionable. But other than that, Detroit's in pretty good shape. I don't have a ton of interest in betting this game. I will say that Memphis has been low-key a decent team to bet on the road recently. They're 4-3 straight up and 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 on the road. And the matchup's not bad for Memphis on paper either. Detroit really struggling to protect the basketball this year. 17% turnover rate. That's 29th in the NBA. Memphis defensively may be struggling a little bit as a whole, but one thing they do very well is force turnovers. 4th highest rate of forced turnovers in the NBA this year. There's no way I can take Detroit at such a short number. I don't love the idea of laying points on the road with this Memphis team. But that's the only side I would be on. I would imagine Memphis is going to be a pretty public favorite as well. Don't love that, but it would be Grizzlies or pass for me here next game. We got Sixers at Wizards. Wizards catching 9.5 points at home here. That number's been bet up from 8.5. Total sitting at 238. Philadelphia is completely healthy. No injuries to the 12-man roster for Philly right now, with the exception of DeAnthony Melton, who's most likely going to play. He's listed as probable. Things are looking all right on the Washington side as well. Obviously, Jordan Poole listed as questionable. That's a big one. This would only be the second game he's missed all season if he doesn't play. So it's really tough to make a case right now betting this Wizards team at home. They've actually been somewhat competitive on the road. I took Wizards +11 against Orlando. It was probably about a week ago now. That was on the road and it hit for me. But their last 5 games at home, 0-5 straight up, 0-5 against the spread. They've been the second least profitable team in the NBA betting-wise at home this year. Only the Atlanta Hawks have been worse. I don't think I'm trying to lay 9.5, 10 points here on the road, but Philly would be the only way I'd lean in this one. If you're looking for a prop, though, I'd probably go with Kelly Oubre's over, maybe Paul Reed. Washington, terrible at protecting the rim. It's just free buckets on the interior against this Washington team. And you would think it would be Joel Embiid, but actually most of Embiid's shots come from mid-range. Paul Reed and Kelly Oubre are the two Sixers that take the highest percentage of their shot attempts at the rim. Neither of their point totals have been posted yet, but that's where I'd look here. I'd go Kelly Oubre over or Paul Reed over in points. Next game. Miami Heat on the road in Toronto. Raps are laying 3 points at home. That number's been bet up from 2.5. Total sitting at 215.5. Miami missing some key pieces in this one. Obviously, Tyler Hero is still out. He hasn't played in a month. Bam Adebayo is going to miss his second straight game. Haywood Highsmith's out too. He's going to miss this one as well. Toronto, on the other hand, completely healthy. Not a single injury designation to the 12-man roster for the Raps. So I always start off leaning towards the Raps at home. They're 3-2 straight up and 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 home games. And historically, this is not an easy place to go play. Last season, the Raps weren't even that good. They still went 27-15 straight up and 25-16-1 against the spread at home. So whenever I see a Toronto home game, I'm already leaning that way before I even start. Matchup-wise, I like the Raps defense against the mid-range shot. They're 10th in efficiency against the mid-range shot and 4th against the short mid-range shot. The reason that's significant, Miami is 3rd in shot frequency in both the mid-range and the short mid-range. But we need to be careful with these numbers. These are on the full season, and you want to know who takes a lot of mid-range shots for the Heat? Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. Neither of those two guys are playing in this game, so we might want to disregard these numbers. Toronto does have a nice little edge on the offensive side. 32% of the Raps shot attempts come at the rim. That's the 8th most in the NBA. And they hit them at a decent rate, too. They're 11th in efficiency. Miami Heat allowing opponents to shoot 71.8% at the rim this year. That's 30th, dead last in the NBA. And obviously, not having Bam Adebayo on the court certainly doesn't help that cause. The reason I'm a little bit hesitant about laying the 3 with the Raps here, what do we know about Toronto? They live and die on the offensive glass. That's been the MO for this Raptors team for 2, 3, 4 years now. If you can keep them off the offensive glass, you got a good shot of beating them. Miami is 5th in defensive ORB this year. Now, you could say, well, there's no Bam Adebayo on the floor, so Toronto should get after it on the offensive glass. But rebounding is truly a team stat. I know it doesn't seem that way. It seems like an individual stat, but as a whole, rebounding is kind of a team thing. So I'm a little hesitant. I'm definitely leaning Raptors. I'll probably end up betting the Raptors. I'd also consider a Jakob Poeltl over. He scores a lot inside and with no Bam Adebayo. By the way, Adebayo is rated 2nd in Miami in defensive win share. Orlando Robinson, the guy who'll be starting in his place, is rated 16th out of 17 on the Miami Heat roster. So should be a favorable match for Poeltl down low. So I'm leaning Raptors -3 and Jakob Poeltl over 11.5 points next game. Spurs are on the road in Minnesota. T-Wolves are laying 12 points at home here with a total sitting at 226.5. Spurs are completely good to go injury-wise. Devin Vassell and Zach Collins are both on the report, but they're both listed as probable, so they're most likely playing. Minnesota's got a couple names on here. Biggest one being obviously Anthony Edwards. He's listed as questionable. This would potentially be the 3rd game in a row he's missed. Minnesota did win both games without him, but they were against Utah and Charlotte. Jaden McDaniels also still out. He hasn't played since November 20th. I can tell you straight up, I will not be betting the Spurs here. I think San Antonio is the worst team in the NBA. I bet them one time this season against the Hawks, but that was because it was a terrible spot for Atlanta, and it cashed, but I'm not trying to make a habit of that. San Antonio's now lost 14 consecutive basketball games. Not to mention it's the T-Wolves at home. Minnesota's 9-1 straight up and 7-2-1 against the spread at home. One of the most profitable teams at home to bet on all year. I'd probably be down to bet Minnesota with or without Anthony Edwards on the floor. I might end up passing. I'll let you know on the live show. But I'll say T-Wolves or pass. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have. Like I said, tomorrow live show, 4 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. We'll go through every single game. I'll have guests on. We'll make final decisions. We'll give out props, all that. Community parlay we'll do, even though the community parlay has been ice cold. But we'll do that. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. NBA Wednesday, loaded slate. Remember to bet responsibly, and I will talk to you in the Discord.